allotment growing is not all glamorous, especially when you're growing organic. This is what we've harvested from the first half batch of our onions. I'm really wanting to be self-sufficient in onions, but we use up probably this much in a month of onions. So I needed like 12 of these, and I grew a lot of onions. My first sowing this year has been onions. I still have some onions. I have some growing at home in the garden, just a little bit. That's the last onion planting. But then this is half from the allotment, half of it, and more than half of it has been riddled with this white rot. So I will be processing it. So hello and thank you for joining me. My name is Mecca. I grow most of my food in the south of England, as you can see, organically. And I'm showing you how I process my onion harvest to last me all year round. Nothing goes to waste here, okay? So I'm just cutting off all the rotted parts, like you can see here. I'll show you. We just chopped this. We did this at the plot last night. And then I will go into the kitchen with them, wash them up. That's a shallot. I had to chop that. I didn't want to just chuck the whole thing. Wash the whole lot up, chop it up, and process it. So if you're interested, stay tuned. So these onions will stay here. They're a bit airy crates that will dry, and then I can store them away. These are shallots. So now I'm in the kitchen. I've given this a good wash, and I like to weigh it before we start, guys. Onions is predominantly water, okay? So I'll let you guess. Can you guess in the comment section before watching till the end? Let me know how much you think this thing would weigh when it's been dehydrated. It's about 6.6 kilos, okay? So we'll see at the end. Now it's time to chop it. Obviously, I'm not going to be chopping this by hand. 6 kilos, nearly 7 kilos of onions. I use this cheap food processor. It does a great job. And yeah, you could blend it, but then it's going to be too mushy. Chopping it really makes a difference. It just cuts the time of processing by half, or even less than half. Now I'm going to pop this in my pan. I'm using a cast iron pan. It's a heavy, big pan. Obviously, this is nearly 7 kilos. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of sea salt. Salt helps draw out the moisture in onions because we're trying to caramelize this without any oil. So we need a bit of salt there. Now, steaming this sort of, well, we're basically cooking it on its own without any water added. The heat is a little bit high at this point because I want the heat to really rise. Now I'm turning it down, okay? I will cover this pan as well and let it just simmer for a bit, and we'll see what happens when I open it. The onion shrunk, the pot's like half full. And now I'll put the rest of the onions because I couldn't put the whole lot in one go because when you chop it up, it's full. This pot is a 9-liter capacity. So I put the rest of the onions in, and then now the work begins. Obviously, we're processing a whole lot of onions, so a whole lot of stirring is involved. We stir and we let it be. After a while, we see the water is beginning to separate. Can you see the stalk there? Now, instead of me stirring this thing to dry it on the hob before I pop it in the dehydrator, I'm going to be spinning it in my salad spinner. Yes, I'm cutting the time. It seems like it's a lot of work, but you're actually reducing your workload. And also, I want to get some of that stock because that stock is really like liquid gold. If you use it as a stock or broth base, it's so delicious. So let's not waste it. Obviously, if you're processing a small amount of onions, you might skip this process because the hob could do the job for you. But look at that stock, okay? We need it. Out of 6.6 kilos of onions, I ended up actually having about 800 or 700 mils of stock. So for me, that's a win-win. Obviously, that's probably 100 if you're doing 1 kilo. So it probably might not be worth doing the spinning. Anywho, back to this. So now I'm going to be stirring this in small batches. Look at all my stock. I did this in small batches now because that's quicker. It's a quicker way to reduce the water volume quickly. The evaporation is easier. And then we're going to pop this on the dehydrator now. If you're a bit more sensible, you wouldn't do this, okay, when it's steaming hot. But I was just a bit impatient. And obviously doing a video, so much happening. So I just had to put it straight on the dehydrator. Okay, ideally let it cool, but if it's going to the oven, you can put it straight from hot, okay, into the oven. I'm actually using my dehydrator and my oven because I needed a lot of space, because as you can imagine, it's a lot of onions I'm processing. Now that pot, I'm showing you how to deglaze it. Okay, it was drying out a bit, and I just popped this moist onion into the pan, left it on really low heat. This is cast iron, really low heat, and it's deglazed. And look, the pan is nice and clean. And I have finally finished processing this whole onion. Phew. Anyway, that's not everything what you do every day. We pop this thing in the oven, and it might need about 48 hours to dehydrate. Yes, so it's taking ages, but guys, the smell was so good. It's not like strong raw onion smell. It's like some burger or something really nice. Anyway, it smelled so good in my home for the 2 days it was dehydrating. Obviously we had breaks in between, and now it's time to wait. Did you guess right? Did you guess how much this thing was going to weigh at the end? I had no idea. It weighed, let's see, it weighed just over 800 grams. Yes, 6.6 kilos. I asked my son to do the maths. He won't tell me the percentage of of what we had water in this onion. So out of over 6.5 kilos, we had 800 grams of dehydrated caramelized onions, and this thing is like gold in your meals. Obviously it's smaller than we started with, but you just need a little. You need a little because you can see it's a lot of onions. And so now my food chopper has come back to play. You can make this really fine powder, but I like just having it like granules because it comes out. You can see the bits of the onions in the cooking. So we finished, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. It's not as complicated as it sounds. If you like to try, let me know in the comment section. Do you dehydrate things like onions? I do this once or twice a year, and it lasts me all year round. So thank you for watching. Please kindly subscribe if you haven't, and also smash that like button, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye bye.